refused to shake hands with a black CEO. The next morning, $5 billion disappeared overnight. In the heart of Springfield, a tiny diner became the pulse of the community. Jenna stood behind the counter of Joe's Family Eats, a place where the aroma of sizzling bacon and fresh coffee mingled with the laughter and chatter of families. Each hustle and bustle in the diner told a story, big and small, happy and sad. But that morning, everything changed when news broke that shook the town to its core. "Did you hear?" A customer leaned in closer, eyes wide. Some county official refused to shake the hand of Marcus Reed. Gasps filled the room. Careful whispers echoed as Jenna's heart raced at the implications. Marcus, a renowned black CEO of a sustainable food company, had come to Springfield, and suddenly, it seemed the whole community was on edge. With one prejudiced act, an entire future hung in the balance. As Jenna cleaned the countertop, her mind raced. This meeting with Marcus was supposed to be an opportunity, a golden ticket for her diner and the town she loved. Instead, it morphed into a symbol of outdated attitudes, disgustingly on display. What made this shocking was not just the snub that Marcus faced, but the fallout. $5 billion in contracts were pulled, leaving her and countless others on the brink of disaster. The echoes of disbelief reverberated through the diner just as deeply as they did in her chest. As the days passed, whispers turned into fears. People stopped coming in for breakfast, the cozy diner felt empty and cold. Jenna could feel the weight of the community's doubts pressing down on her. The cheerful banter was replaced by solemn nods and hushed conversations. The truth hit hard. Jenna had inherited her family's legacy of respect and kindness, but how could she stand up when the very foundations of her neighborhood threatened to crumble? Determined, Jenna called a meeting, inviting everyone to Joe's Family Eats. The town needed to confront its reality, to face its prejudices. Under the glow of pendant lights, people trickled in, unsure yet compelled. "This isn't just about Marcus," Jenna began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "It's about all of us." Eyes locked onto hers, some glistened with tears. Stories unfolded, long-held hurts and heartaches echoing off the walls of her diner. Before Jenna could dig deeper into the conversation, a sudden thought tugged at her. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As conversations ignited, a sense of urgency crackled in the air. Jenna felt the tide shift as people shared their experiences, each story like a thread weaving a thicker tapestry of connection. But just as she thought they might break through, doubts began to creep in again. Would these brave words translate into action? The room grew heavy with anticipation. Caught in her moment of hope, Jenna knew that the fight for change was far from over. The pressing question loomed large: could this small diner, this humble gathering place, inspire her community to rise above the shadows of division? Only time would tell. As the last conversation faded into uncertainty, Jenna exhaled sharply, her breath a cocktail of apprehension and determination. She scanned the room, searching for a flicker of resolve in the faces surrounding her. "I want to hear from you all," she encouraged, her voice firm. "This isn't just about what happened yesterday. This is about our future." But the room remained still, the weight of the moment suffocating. Finally, a young man named Lucas spoke up, brushing his dark hair back nervously. "What if we don't know how to change?" he asked, his voice shaky yet earnest. "I mean, what if it's just too late for us?" Jenna's heart ached at his words. They reflected the fear that was palpable in the diner, a fear that the darkness of prejudice had sunk its roots too deep. "It's never too late, Lucas," she replied, leaning forward. "What happened yesterday isn't just a stain on our community. It's a chance for us to grow together, to learn. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, but doubt lingered. A mother with tired eyes shuffled in her seat. I just want my kids to grow up in a place where they feel safe and accepted. How can we make that happen? Her voice cracked, revealing genuine vulnerability. Maybe we start by reaching out, Jenna suggested, her mind racing with possibilities. We can invite Marcus back, set up an open forum where he can share his vision. Let us show him that Springfield can do better. A few heads nodded, but others hesitated. Jenna saw the uncertainty. People were exhausted by years of inertia, years of pretending these issues didn't exist. The diner seemed to grow colder as silence draped itself over them again. Look, I know it's scary. But if we don't take this step, what message are we sending? She pressed, heat rising in her chest. The kind of future we want starts here, in this diner. Let's take a stand. As the words hung in the air, an older gentleman, Mr. Daniels, raised his hand. The white-haired veteran was known for his long-standing pride in Springfield. I remember when we were a community that stood together, he said slowly, his voice glimmering with emotion. And I'd be damned if I let one person's bad actions define us. Those words sparked something. Encouragement flowed between the chairs as people began to find their voices. One by one, they voiced ideas: community gatherings, workshops on empathy, even fundraisers for local minority businesses. It was electrifying. Jenna felt the warmth of hope infiltrating the tension. She smiled, the corners of her mouth trembling with joy. Perhaps this was the catalyst they needed, a way to change hearts and minds. They could become a place where friendship triumphed over fear. But just as a newfound excitement blossomed, a shrill ring cut through the chatter. Jenna's phone buzzed urgently on the counter. She fished it out, eyes widening as she read the notification. It was a news alert. Marcus Reed had issued a statement. Everyone, listen. She called, a rush of adrenaline surging through her. We need to hear what he is saying. The room quieted, all eyes trained on Jenna as she began to read, each word weaved with anticipation. Yet, even as she spoke, a shadow of doubt clung to the walls. A test was brewing. What if Marcus's message only deepened the divide? Outside, thunder rumbled ominously in the distance, matching the storm of questions swelling within her. What awaited after revelation? Because somehow, she knew, this was just the beginning. The room felt electric as Jenna read the breaking news aloud, the words spilling out like a waterfall of angst and uncertainty. A collective breath held tight in the diner, every eye darting between her and the glowing screen. Marcus's statement was sharp, accusing, filled with unfiltered emotion. This isn't simply a celebration of our differences, it's about the very fabric of our community. We can't heal unless we acknowledge the wounds. Jenna struggled to grasp the magnitude of what she was reading. A mixture of nervousness and anger surged through her, a storm caught between her heart and her mind. The last line echoed in her ears, consider this a challenge for Springfield. Will we rise to meet it or let it bury us? The silence was deafening. A mother clutched her child closer, the young boy peering wide-eyed at the adults around him, an air of confusion swirling like fog in the diner. Jenna could almost see the gears turning in everyone's heads, the worry and skepticism battling against hope and resolve. What do we do? Lucas finally broke the silence, his voice full of uncertainty. What if this whole thing just makes it worse? Or what if it forces us to face what we've been ignoring? Jenna countered, her heart racing. Sometimes change doesn't come easy. Sometimes it hurts. Mr. Daniels was looking at her with a fierceness she hadn't seen before. This is our chance to show that we stand together, not divided, he said, his voice carrying weight. If we can't show Marcus that we want to change, then we're just admitting defeat. A glimmer of agreement began to spread through the crowd. Jenna's heart lifted. This wasn't just about Marcus, it was about them, the choices they would make together. Let us create a committee, Jenna suggested, feeling her voice gain strength as it flowed. "We can draft a response to Marcus. We can put out a call for everyone in Springfield to join us, to own up to our mistakes, but also to show we're ready to be better." It was as though songbirds had found their voices again. Ideas mingled in the air like colorful bubbles: social media campaigns, community dialogues, even a march down Main Street to prove their unity. Everyone was buzzing with energy now. But then, as Jenna basked in the warmth of collective energy, her phone buzzed again, a stark reminder of the external world infesting their emotional resolve. It was another alert, this one carrying the grim announcement of financial repercussions against their community. A major corporation had chosen to pull out of Project Riverwalk, a revitalization initiative valued at billions, stating their stance against the recent local events. A wave of dismay washed over the diner. Lucas buried his head in his hands. What if this means losing jobs? As reality set in, that initial exuberance began to falter like a candle flickering in the wind. Jenna stepped closer to the group, heart pounding as she tried to gather her thoughts. "We can't let this define us or destroy everything we've just built together," she urged, her voice steady but urgent. "If we shut down now, that will prove Marcus right. Springfield must step up." The room hesitated, eyes locking onto her as the air filled with uncertainty again. Mr. Daniels gave a slow shake of his head. "We can't shy away from the fight because it's hard. We've got people depending on us." Jenna felt embers of resolve reignite, but doubt still loomed large. The storm outside mirrored the one within, each bolt of thunder rattling her thoughts. "Who's in this with me?" she asked, holding her breath as she scanned their faces. One by one, they nodded, slowly at first, then with more certainty. They had an uphill battle ahead, but if they were going to unify, they had to face whatever came next, together. Outside, the storm rage mirrored the turmoil in their hearts, but Jenna realized, this tempest could also be their turning point. Change was daunting, yet the stakes had never been higher. What other surprises lay ahead in this battle for their community? And would they hold strong in their pact, or would the tides of fear pull them apart? The sun rose the next morning, battling through clouds like an army overcoming adversity. Jenna stood at the window of her small apartment, coffee cup cradled in her hands. She watched the streets of Springfield, still damp from the night's storm. Graffiti on the sidewalk read "Unity is strength," a slogan they had all agreed on in their meeting. But now, uncertainty nagged at her. News had spread like wildfire, and the diner buzzed with gossip as people grasped for understanding. Jenna felt the weight of the moment heavy on her chest. She checked her phone, hoping for some positive updates, perhaps an avalanche of support. Instead, there were messages of anger, fear, and despair. The financial blow to the community was more severe than anyone had anticipated. "What the hell are we going to do now?" Lucas's voice cut through her thoughts like a knife. He stood at her door, eyes wide and frantic. They had all been friends for years, but now, the strain of the situation transformed their bond into something raw and urgent. Jenna stepped aside, letting Lucas in. "We work harder. We find a way to bring the community together." "But how?" he shot back, his frustration palpable. "What if people just give up? What if they start fighting amongst themselves?" "They won tea," Jenna insisted, her voice rising. "I refuse to believe that. This is our home, Lucas. This is our chance to show what we're made of." She turned away to gather her strength, taking deep breaths. A plan started forming in her mind, a rally, perhaps? Something that would showcase unity beyond fear. Later that day, Jenna gathered a small group in her living room. The atmosphere was thick with tension, but also a flicker of hope that kept everyone engaged. Mr. Daniels, Lucas, and a couple of others, shifted in their seats as Jenna unveiled her idea. "We set a date for a day of unity," she proposed, her eyes bright with excitement. "A day where we demonstrate to the company that we want to be defined by their decision. We'll organize events, we'll reach out to everyone. What if they don't show up? What if we organize this, and it all crumbles? Lucas asked, an edge of worry in his voice. They will show up, she shot back, confidence pouring from her. I believe in our community. And if we amplify our voices, more people will listen. We have strength in numbers. The group exchanged glances, uncertainty still clouding their faces but hope danced in their eyes. They started brainstorming, each idea a small candle lighting a dark room. Recipes were exchanged for potluck ideas, sign designs sketched out in earnest, and social media plans took off like wildfire. As their brainstorming session faded into laughter and camaraderie, fear and doubt began to melt away, illuminated by a growing shared sense of purpose. Jenna felt the spark ignite again. But as she pulled out her phone to take notes, Lucas's face fell. Jenna, you need to see this, he said, pressing his phone into her hands. A fresh headline flashed across the screen, breaking, Springfield faces new backlash, city council under fire after angry town hall meeting. Dread pooled in Jenna's stomach, an icy finger tracing her spine. The council members were divided, and chaos reigned. Do we still hold the rally? She whispered, her heart pounding against her ribs. I don't think we have any choice, Lucas replied, his voice somber. The time to act is now or we risk losing everything even more. Jenna's mind swirled. In that moment, fear twisted her insides, but so did a fierce determination. The world outside may spin in turmoil, but Springfield was ready for change. Could they really pull this off? Would their voices rise above the commotion? Did they even have a chance against the tidal wave of backlash? As they prepared for what was to come, questions lingered in the air, whispers of possibility mingled with the looming shadow of uncertainty. Would the people stand with them, or would they turn away when it mattered most? Anxiety clawed at her heart, perhaps change was closer than it seemed. What new challenges would the community face in the days to come? And would their fight for unity be enough to stand the test of time? The next morning, Jenna awoke with the sun creeping through her window, illuminating the room in soft hues of gold. She felt exhausted, her mind racing with thoughts about the rally and the recent turmoil among the town council. She could hardly grasp the sheer weight of uncertainty that enveloped not just her, but everyone in Springfield. Those fears hung over her like a storm cloud, dark and threatening. Over coffee, she scrolled through her phone, searching for updates. The headline from the day before was still making waves. The town hall meeting incident replayed in her mind, a cacophony of voices rising in outrage. Council members had argued passionately, drawing lines in the sand that could easily fracture their community. What if that division spread to the townspeople? What if the rally only fueled their rifts? Jenna's heart ached at the thought. Leaving her apartment, she ran into neighbor after neighbor, each greeting heavy with concern. Mr. Richmond, an elderly man who usually spoke with a jovial spirit, looked downcast. Morning, Jenna. Heard about the town hall debacle? I'm worried, real worried. People need to stop yelling and start listening. She nodded, feeling the same worry bubbling within her. We're trying to change that, Mr. Richmond. We have to bring everyone together. Feeling his eyes upon her, she forged ahead, keeping her chin up. With each step, her resolve hardened. They had to make it work. The rally was more than just an event, it was a chance for connection, a lifeline for a community teetering on the edge of despair. A chunk of the morning passed before Jenna met Lucas and the others at the community center to finalize plans. The energy in the room felt different today, a thick, pensive atmosphere replacing last night's hopeful momentum. They circled a table strewn with papers, the air heavy with doubt. Have we heard back from the council yet? Jenna asked, hoping for some reassuring news. Lucas shook his head. Nothing. They're still trying to manage the fallout from the meeting. And people are scared, Jenna. We all want change, but what if they dig in deeper? He had a point. Jenna clenched the edge of the table, her mind racing. Every source of conflict felt like a weight pressing down on her chest. She had a choice, either succumb to fear, or push forward with courage. "We need to remind everyone why we're holding this rally," she nearly shouted, finding the resolve to look her friends in the eyes. "If we want to create real change, we need to start here." But someone interrupted her. Janie, the diner owner, burst into the room. "You've got to see this." Her voice was frantic, catching everyone off guard. The group turned towards her, eyes wide in anticipation as she fixed her gaze on Jenna. "The news is all over the council member who caused that uproar at the meeting. She's just resigned." Jenna's heart sank momentarily. Was this chaos or opportunity? Would this resignation shake the foundation of Springfield even more or open doors for change? Just then, Lucas's phone buzzed. As he read it, a shadow crossed his face. "No, it can't be," he muttered. "What? What is it?" Jenna urged, adrenaline pumping through her veins. He held his phone up, brows furrowed. "They lost a $5 billion investment overnight. A company planned to build here, and now it's gone just like that." The collective gasp in the room echoed Jenna's racing thoughts. Does anyone even know what this means? It was Mr. Daniels, his hands now trembling slightly. "Uncertainty breeds chaos. If we don't act, we might lose this community forever," Jenna responded, her voice steadier than she felt. She knew they had to act fast. The energy was shifting, and she could feel it. But could they rally the townsfolk amidst all this disarray? As they scrambled around, devising plans, Dora from the library burst in, her face painted with urgency. "Guys! It's not just about the investment. There's talk about a new player in town, someone who's been watching the council's every move." Jenna's stomach twisted. Who was this new player, and what did their presence mean for Springfield? Questions swirled, thickening the air with tension. Would they be able to unify amidst the chaos, or had they just stepped into a storm of even greater uncertainty? The fight was far from over. What power could this new player exact on their community, and would the people of Springfield emerge together or fall apart at the edges? The room fell silent, everyone processing the news. Jenna could almost feel the collective heartbeat of her friends, pulsing with anxiety. What could this new player mean for their town? They were already hanging by a thread, and the thought of another disruption sent shivers down her spine. "What do we know about this player?" Lucas asked, his voice a low murmur as he leaned closer to Dora. "Not much," she replied. "Just that they're gathering intel. Rumors say they might have interests that don't align with the well-being of our community." "Great," Jenna said, running a hand through her hair, trying to keep frustration at bay. "Another shadow lurking over us." As if resignations and investment losses weren't enough. The tension in the room thickened, and Jenna tried to hold everyone's gaze. "We can't let fear paralyze us. Maybe this is an opportunity to unite. Bring the community closer. If we can face this unknown together, we'll be stronger." "But what if they're out for blood?" Janie countered, crossing her arms. "What if they want to exploit our division?" "I understand your fears, Janie," Jenna replied softly, each step of her heartbeat echoing in her chest. "But we have to draw a line in the sand ourselves. We can't let them dictate our future." As if on cue, a group of people gathered outside the community center, their voices mingling into a murmur that seeped through the walls. Jenna felt a pull toward the door. She needed to see their faces. Pushing through, she emerged onto the porch. A small crowd was forming, faces drawn tight with confusion. Their collective worry mirrored her own. What were they discussing? "Hey!" Jenna called out, raising her hands to get their attention. "Can we gather around for a moment?" After a few uncertain glances, they shuffled closer. She took a deep breath. "I know there's a lot of uncertainty right now. Trust me, I feel it too. The group shuffled, some nodding, others looking skeptical. "We heard about the investment loss," one woman piped up. "What is going to happen to our town?" That question felt like a stone thrown into a still pond, sending ripples of anxiety throughout the crowd. Jenna swallowed hard. "I want you to know that we are still in a position to fight. To protect our community. But we need each other now, more than ever." More voices joined the swell. A man argued, "But what about the council? They're the ones who got us here. If the council has failed us, we're the ones who have to step up." Jenna implored, fighting back the tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. "This is our home, and it matters. We can't let these power dynamics define us." Suddenly, a man shouted from the crowd, "So what do we do? Hold a rally? A protest?" "Yes," Jenna exclaimed, her heart racing at the idea. "We gather the community to stand strong. The rally will be our voice, and louder than any rumors or chaos can drown out." She couldn't ignore the flicker of determination igniting in those around her. As they began to discuss logistics, Jenna felt that pang of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could turn this tide. But deep within her, a nagging dread remained. What if the new player had resources beyond what they could fathom? What if they were not just watching, but moving to dismantle whatever hope Jenna was trying to build? As conversations swirled with rapid-fire plans, Jenna caught sight of someone lurking at the edge of the crowd, their posture shadowy and weirdly familiar. She squinted, heartbeat racing again. Was that the figure she'd seen at the council meeting, someone sending her warning glances? Or was it just a trick of the mind, another layer of uncertainty to grapple with? Her gut twisted as the feeling of being watched pressed down on her. They needed to rally, build connections, and fight back. But what if danger was closer than they thought? As she sensed the group's excitement slowly building, Jenna knew one thing for sure: they were far from done fighting. But who could they truly trust in this growing storm? Who was that figure, and what were they willing to do? The crowd continued to buzz with energy, their voices merging into a cacophony of plans and ideas, but Jenna's eyes were fixed on that mysterious figure. As the excitement swelled, her heart sank deeper. She didn't want another worry, they had enough on their plates already. "Who are you?" she whispered under her breath, trying to will the figure to step closer, to reveal their intentions. The stranger remained shrouded in the shadows, like a storm cloud ready to unleash chaos at any moment. Dora's voice pulled her back. "Jenna, are you with us?" "Yeah, of course." A smile plastered itself to her face, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Let us focus on making this rally a success." She pushed the feeling aside. No time for distractions. The community needed her now. As plans materialized around her, Jenna could feel the weight of responsibility resting heavily on her shoulders. The voices of the townsfolk pounded like a drum, beating out a rhythm of defiance against the chaos threatening to tear them apart. "We need flyers and posters." "Someone grab a megaphone," Lucas called out, his face alight with determination. "I can use my contacts to get snacks," Janie piped in, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Fantastic, let us get everyone involved," Jenna urged. She felt herself rising to the occasion, their adrenaline pumping life into her weary bones. This was the moment they would reclaim their narrative. But as they worked, Jenna quietly observed the looming figure again. Each time she glanced back, it felt like they were moved closer, like a predator stalking its prey. Those eyes seemed to bore into her, sending icy tendrils coiling around her heart. "Are you okay?" Dora's voice broke through the tension. Jenna turned to find her scrutinizing her with concern. "Just a lot on my mind." But the truth was, something deeper was gnawing at her. This wasn't just about the town's future, it was about her identity too. Jenna had always been the one to rally people together, the loudest cheerleader, but now, fear was nipping at her heels. It felt as though she were standing at the edge of a cliff, staring down into the dark abyss of the unknown. With a deep breath, she pushed the anxiety down and threw herself back into the work at hand. We're going to do this. We're going to show them we're a community that fights back. Just then, an unexpected burst of laughter from the crowd jolted her. It drew her attention, brightening the atmosphere. She saw a few familiar faces sharing jokes, their spirits ignited despite the turmoil around them. Jenna felt a flicker of hope glowing within her. "Okay, everyone," she called out, trying to amplify the energy. "Let us meet back here tomorrow morning to finalize our plans. Spread the word. This rally is going to show everyone the strength of our community." As people departed, conversations continued, voices filled with reassurance and anticipation. But as Jenna turned to head back inside, the figure was gone. Where did they go? Jenna thought, glancing around. That unsettling question lingered in her mind. "Jenna?" Lucas's voice broke through her thoughts. "You coming?" "Yeah, I'm coming." She hesitated, her stomach in knots. Even with all the community spirit igniting around her, doubt wrapped around her heart like a vice. The evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows in the fading light. Jenna could feel the weight of those uncharted waters approaching. Right as she reached the door, a movement caught her eye again, a shadow darting around the corner of the building. Her heart raced. What was happening? Did someone want to harm their plans? But there was no more backing down. They were ready to fight for their future. The rally was only the beginning. As she pushed through the door, the lingering feeling of dread knotted in her gut. Who had they stirred up with their determination? And were they ready for the storm that was brewing? Tomorrow would bring clarity, but at what cost? Jenna woke up to sunlight streaming through her window, but it felt like a heavy fog had settled over her thoughts. The memory of the rally buzzed in her mind like a persistent fly. She rolled over and stared at the ceiling, trying to shake off the anxiety gripping her. "Breathe," she told herself, but the voice inside kept whispering doubts. Would the people really rally together? Would they even feel safe doing so? As she sat up, she glanced at her phone. Just as she feared, notifications flooded in about the preparations. It felt like a dam had burst after a long drought. She pulled on her clothes and raced down to the community center, her heart pounding against her ribs. Each step felt heavier. As she entered the center, the air buzzed with anticipation, but the cheerfulness was laced with an undercurrent of tension. "Jenna!" Lucas called, waving her over. "We're just discussing the placards." "Great," she said, forcing enthusiasm into her voice. But her mind was elsewhere, fixated on that figure from the previous night. Why hadn't they revealed themselves? What did they want? While they planned the rally, Jenna caught sight of familiar faces, people who had been fighting for their community long before her. She met eyes with Dora, who was busy attaching letters to a large banner. "Jenna," Dora said, her voice soft but urgent. "Have you seen anything strange? You appeared distracted yesterday." "I'm fine," Jenna replied, but she didn't feel fine. Not really. As more people gathered, the buzz intensified. Ideas flew back and forth, but Jenna's thoughts kept drifting. She felt the flicker of panic reside deep in her chest. Everyone seemed confident, but what if something went wrong? What if that figure from last night was a sign? "Look over there!" Janie shouted. Everyone turned to see an unexpected sight. A local news crew had arrived, cameras rolling and lights flashing. It should have excited her. Instead, a wave of dread washed over Jenna. They were under the lens now, scrutinized and exposed. "All right, everyone. Let us make this count," Lucas shouted, rallying momentum. Heart racing, Jenna stepped back, taking a deep breath. "We can do this," she whispered to herself. She brushed her damp palms against her jeans and pushed through the crowd. Just then, a commotion arose. Voices raised, shocked whispers whispered through the ranks. Jenna felt her stomach twist. What was happening? Did you hear? The CEO of Silverline Corp just pulled their support. Someone exclaimed, shaking their head in disbelief. What? Why? Another voice replied. The air felt electric. Jenna made her way through the throng, her heart pounding. What happened? She asked, fear creeping into her voice. They said something about integrity or going in another direction, but it's big. They were supposed to sponsor our event. Panic surged within her, but she forced it down. They had rallied community strength, they could stand up to this. We won't let them shake us. If anything, this makes us stronger. Still, Jenna's heart raced with the specter of that shadowy figure. What if this was just the beginning? What if their determination had stirred something or someone? The doubt settled in her mind again, coiling like smoke, making it hard to breathe. Let us get back to it. Jenna exclaimed, trying to keep her voice steady. But as each person muttered their fears and concerns around her, one question lingered: who had the power to dismantle their hope so quickly? And in that moment, as they worked to keep the rally on track, Jenna wished she could look past the shadows and see what lay ahead. But now, as uncertainty loomed closer, what would it cost them to rise from this setback? Was it too late to regain control? The chatter around the community center grew louder, but to Jenna, it felt muffled, like she was hearing everything from underwater. The news of Silverline Corp pulling out hit her hard. It felt personal, a reminder of the fragility of their cause, their hopes teetering on the edge of doubt. Lucas rallied the crew, drawing people in with words that were meant to inspire. This is our time. We have to show everyone what we stand for. He gestured passionately, but Jenna sensed the worry hidden in the corners of his eyes. They were all scared underneath their courageous fronts. Can't you see, Jenna? Dora leaned in, her brow knitted with concern. This could hurt us. It's a big blow. I know, Jenna replied, her throat tight with unshed tears. But we can't let them win. We have to push harder. She wanted desperately to convince herself as much as her friends. As they settled back into planning, Jenna tried to focus. Flashes of the previous night crept back into her mind, the figure, that unsettling presence. It wasn't just the missing support they needed to worry about, it was what was lurking in the shadows. Can we count on bringing more of the community in? Someone asked from the back of the room, a nervous edge to their voice. We need momentum, some kind of movement. That was it, momentum. Jenna felt a spark ignite within her. Yes. Let us galvanize our people. We don't need Silverline to stand up for what's right. This is us. The room quieted, and for a moment, the desperation that had gripped their hearts began to loosen, if only a little. She scanned their faces, each one filled with mixed emotions, uncertainty, anger, and hope. It wasn't just about Silverline, it was about their voices being heard, about feeling seen. She could feel the energy shift, and a flicker of determination passed among them like a flame catching on dry kindling. Call everyone you know, Jenna urged, her voice rising with excitement. Let them know we're still here. We're going to rally together and show them we're united. Applause broke out, and Jenna felt buoyed by the collective energy. The news crew was still recording, capturing every moment, but instead of feeling exposed, she felt empowered. They needed to tell their story, not one of defeat but of resilience. But even as they regrouped and focused, that nagging voice in her head persisted. Who had really orchestrated Silverline's withdrawal? Just then, the room fell silent as Lucas received a new notification. He glanced at his phone, his expression shifting from confusion to disbelief. Guys, you'll never believe this. What? Jenna's stomach dropped, a gut instinct warned her. Silverline's CEO, they just released a statement. They're pulling all funding to support freedom of choice, especially for communities against racial equality. Some gasped, while others murmured in disbelief. What? Jenna felt her heart race. Are you serious? The implications were staggering. This wasn't a business decision, it was a direct attack on everything they were fighting for. We need to respond, Jenna almost shouted, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Fear morphed into fervor. Document this. We need to go public. We must expose them. Shouted Janie, her eyes now alight with determination. But as the conversation spiraled, panic masked by righteous anger, Jenna couldn't shake the image of the figure from the previous night. Were they behind this too? Whatever this was, the stakes had just escalated. The corporate elite, lurking in the shadows, seemed to be tightening their grip. Jenna couldn't ignore the sense that she was now at the center of something far bigger than herself. What had they awakened? What would this mean for their rally and their fight? As Jenna caught glimpses of her friends making plans, a mix of dread and excitement coursed through her veins. In the chaos, a new determination formed within her. But somewhere, a voice whispered, was it the rallying cry or a warning? Could she navigate this storm without losing her way or their cause? The day of the rally dawned bright and clear, as if the universe itself was offering a blessing. Jenna stood outside Joe's family eats, watching as townsfolk began to gather. Her heart raced with a mix of excitement and apprehension, each face a reflection of the collective courage they were summoning. This was their moment to rise above fear and unite for a shared future. Here we go, she muttered to herself, her fingers twitching against her side. She made her way toward the growing crowd, excitement fizzing in the air. Banners fluttered in the slight breeze, vividly painted messages of unity and strength ready to be unfurled. Jenna. Lucas bounded up to her, bright-eyed and hopeful. Everything is set. People are really showing up. His energy felt electrifying, light cutting through some of Jenna's lingering doubts. Really? This is amazing. She let a smile break through, inviting optimism to wash over her. But just then, that darkness pricked at her heart, a reminder of powerful figures observing from the sidelines. As the crowd began to fill the plaza, Jenna took a deep breath and climbed onto a makeshift platform. She felt the gentle warmth of sun on her face, gathering her strength. Everyone, can I get your attention? Her voice rang out strong, cutting through the murmurs. Silence fell quickly, a hush over people filled with a shared resolve. What we're here for today is not just about standing against discrimination. It's about standing up for our whole community. We cannot allow fear and division to win. We must remind Springfield of who we truly are. Cheers erupted, clapping and hooting echoed as encouragement bounced back. Jenna felt her heart swell, warmth blooming within her. This felt like hope. Suddenly, the sunlight dimmed, and Jenna glanced over her shoulder, spotting the shadowy figure from before. But this time, she felt different. Pangs of fear were overshadowed by courage. Perhaps this was a distraction from the real power they held together. People are worried, yes. About jobs, about acceptance, she spoke louder, recalibrating her thoughts back to the audience. But this right here, a community coming together to fight for love, compassion, and openness, this is what we need. We must take pride in who we are. Let us change the narrative. The roar of support sent thrilling shivers down her spine. As she looked at familiar faces shining with determination, she realized she was not alone in this battle. Their unity made the shadows fade. Today, let us show that our strength is in our diversity. She continued, every word taking root deeper in her heart. Let us invite everyone back to this table, to learn, share, and understand one another better. In that moment, she felt the presence of that figure dissipate. It was now no more than a shadow on the sidewalk, confusing and uncertain amidst the vibrant community around her. But then, amidst the crowd, a voice cut through the excitement. Then why did Silverline leave us? A man stepped up, brow furrowed with concern. Jenna held her breath, doubts threatened to creep back in. Because they didn't align with the values we hold dear. She pivoted. This community thrives on empathy and respect, not on exclusion. We're better off without them if they can't see that. We will build our future on our terms. As she spoke, she felt energy pulsing through the crowd. People began to join in, calling out their plans and promises, voices raised in solidarity. Finally, after everyone shared their thoughts, it was time to act, not just to stand together, but to pave the way for change. Jenna reached for the megaphone. Let us march. Let everyone in Springfield hear our heartbeat. Let us show them we stand strong, together. The procession moved through the streets, colors flying high and vibrant. With each step, Jenna felt like they were shedding layers of fear and doubt. Horns honked in support. A few faces peered from windows, their expressions varying from confusion to admiration. As they walked, she connected with others. Conversations flowed freely, stories shared, friendships blossoming. In this march, barriers faded, they were no longer strangers. Together, they were more than just a town, they were a family determined to move forward, hand in hand. But soon enough, whispers of dissent bubbled beneath the surface, fueled by external forces. Nearby towns sent representatives a counter-protest, angry eyes glued to their movement, fueled by propaganda and division. Jenna recognized the faces of fear and rage as they marched to disrupt. An oppressive weight clung to the air, a potent reminder that darkness had not disappeared, merely stepped back to bide its time. The march halted, tension electrifying the atmosphere. An unforeseen test, one she hadn't anticipated. It would take every ounce of strength to hold their unity together. Don't back down. Jenna called out into the storm brewing ahead. This is our moment. We have chosen love over hatred. Hope and defiance surged as a final push erupted between the two factions. The figures from both sides clashed, a storm of words and anger, but within their group, Jenna felt immense resolve, a realization dawning that love and respect would indeed win out. As they began to chant together, their harmony broke through the tension. This was not just a protest, it had morphed into a movement of empowerment. Jenna watched the anger in the eyes of dissenters soften as they were met with kindness and assurance. Everyone deserves a place at the table, she thought. Together, we can weather any storm. In that moment, with the crowd behind her singing and standing their ground, Jenna understood this wasn't just a battle of politics, it was a reclamation of spirit. And that rally would end on a note of hope, a reminder that they wouldn't cower or crumble before the shadows that sought to divide them. As the last echoes of unity rang out, Jenna felt she'd conquered her fear. They would rise as one, unyielding, ready. The journey wasn't over, but they now had clarity and purpose, an unwavering path ahead. A triumphant smile crossed her lips as they turned back toward home. Together, one step at a time, they would face whatever came next. And in the end, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky orange, they would know they were more than just a town, they were a community, stronger together, standing tall in the face of whatever storms may come. Now, it's your turn to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.